You ever notice how 1 minute you're sitting on top of the world, and the next, a waitress you just mocked in front of a room full of billionaires turns your whole life upside down? Yeah, that happened to me. Name's Lucas Stone, and trust me, if you met me a few years back, you'd probably have wanted to punch me in the face or maybe just ask me for a loan. I built Lux Vita from scratch, turned luxury into a science. Watches and suits and fragrances for people who thought exclusive was a birthright. My life was precision, power, and absolute control, the kind you could feel pulsing in the marble floors of my penthouse. I lived 30 stories above Central Park, never waited in line, never apologized, never doubted for a second that I was the smartest guy in any room. So let me back up a sec. It was one of those New York nights where money seems to float in the air like confetti, and I was at La Perla Lounge, that Michelin-star cathedral for the ultra-rich. We were closing a merger, my investors from Madrid laughing too loud, wine glasses catching chandelier light. The deal was brutal, 120 pages of legal Spanish, so dense you could use it as a doorstop. I read every word myself, didn't trust my lawyers to spot the fine print that could cost millions. If you know anything about business, you know that trust is for amateurs, and I had the scars to prove it. Sofia Alvarez, the waitress, she moved like a shadow sharp, silent, eyes always watching, skin the color of caramel coffee. Dark hair pulled back so tight it looked like it might snap. I barely saw her at first, just a voice with a Spanish accent, quick hands refilling my glass. The only reason I noticed her at all was because she paused barely a heartbeat while pouring my wine. I snapped at her. My guests laughed, expecting her to flinch or stammer. She just murmured, "Sorry, sir," and kept moving, steady as a surgeon, no emotion. I wrote her off in an instant. That was mistake number one. As the wine flowed and egos inflated, I was riding high. Then came the moment. Carlos, the lead investor, joked about how dense the contract was, how even his lawyers couldn't untangle it. I felt cocky, maybe too cocky. I slid the whole stack of papers across the table, smirked at Sophia, and said, "You're Spanish, right? If you're so smart, translate it." The room erupted, like I'd just thrown a bone to a dog at a circus. I expected her to wilt. Instead, she picked up the contract, looked at me for a long second, and just walked away. No words, no drama, just gone, like she was taking out the trash. The laughter died down quick, and I felt a flicker of something I hadn't felt in years, doubt. Next morning, my assistant drops an envelope on my desk. No return address. Inside, the entire contract translated, every nuance in flawless English, annotated with notes sharper than anything my Ivy League legal team could have dreamed up. She'd flagged clauses that could ruin us labor rights issues, hidden tax landmines, cultural traps no gringo lawyer would catch. At the end, a letter, handwritten and perfectly calm. "Mr. Stone, you assumed I was just a waitress. Assumptions are a liability in business. You challenged me, so I delivered. Next time, read the room." My pulse went wild. Who the hell was this woman? I had my assistant dig deep. Turns out Sofia Alvarez graduated top of her class at Columbia Law, spoke 5 languages, was once tipped to be the youngest partner at a top firm until she just vanished, like a ghost, after her mom got cancer. She traded 6-figure bonuses for night shifts and chemo runs. Her life shrunk to a rented room in the Bronx, tip money barely covering hospital bills. You know what I mean when I say that was a punch in the gut? All the money in the world, and I'd missed what was right in front of me. That night, I went back to La Perla, found her wiping tables, apron wrinkled, eyes tired but clear. We talked well, I tried. I asked her why she was waitressing when she could be running courtrooms. She just said, "Family comes first." That's not walking away, that's choosing what matters. You wouldn't understand. And she was right. I didn't. My own sister died of cancer years ago. I buried the grief under work, told myself winning would fill the hole. Sophia? She stared down the world and chose love over glory. I tried to hire her, offered a blank check. She laughed in my face. "I translated your contract because you humiliated me. I'm not for sale." She walked off, left me standing there like a fool, and for the first time in my life, I started wondering if maybe, just maybe, I'd been measuring the wrong things all along. I kept going back to that restaurant just to watch her work. She spoke French to tourists, Mandarin to businessmen, made a homeless man's night with a plate of risotto out the back door. She mentored the busboy on his English, helped a coworker's daughter prep for exams. You ever meet someone who seems to leave a trail of hope everywhere they go, just by showing up? That was Sophia. 7 months later, thanks to her translation, we closed the merger. She'd saved my company millions. I sent her a thank you check for 50 grand. She sent it back. I don't need your charity. I need your respect. That line burned. I started asking around. She'd been setting up a legal aid firm in Brooklyn, using every spare dollar to build something from scratch, a place where people like her mom, like her, could get justice. Pro bono cases for immigrants, families fighting landlords, small businesses getting squeezed by the system. She volunteered nights, mentored law students, ran workshops at a Bronx community center. One afternoon, I showed up at her office. Nothing fancy, a converted warehouse with a leaky roof and a whiteboard full of open cases. Her interns, mostly former clients, were prepping files, laughter spilling from the break room. Sophia was at her desk, had bent over a brief for a family about to lose their bodega to a predatory developer. When she looked up, she didn't smile, just said, "What are you doing here, Mr. Stone?" I told her the truth. I wanted to see the real work. You're not just surviving, you're building something that matters. She nodded, nothing more. She didn't need my praise. Here's the twist, the one that changed everything. She'd also been quietly advising one of my rivals, helping them negotiate fair contracts, supporting worker rights. Her values didn't bend, not for money, not for power. Her keynote at Columbia Law went viral, justice for the invisible, her words like fire, igniting a movement. Law students, activists, kids from the neighborhood, they saw her and believed, maybe for the first time, that someone like them could change the world. Years went by. Sophia's firm grew from one room to offices in Miami, LA, all serving the overlooked. Her wins-class action suits, pro bono victories made headlines. Maria, her mother, still fought cancer, but her pride filled hospital rooms, her stories fueling Sophia's resolve. Her mints, Anna, Elena, Mateo, went to law school, became journalists, built community gardens. I found myself mentoring too, launching scholarships, overhauling Lexevita's culture, finally using my power for something more than profit. The last time I saw Sophia, she handed me her card, Alvarez Legal Services. If you ever need a lawyer who won't bow to billionaires, you know where to find me. She grinned, eyes shining, no resentment, just respect. Later, a letter arrived at my office. "Thank you for seeing me. Keep seeing the unseen. Tell Anna to aim for the stars. Tell Elena her words will change the world. Tell Mateo his dreams are green and growing. Lucas, you're not the man you were. You're better. Don't stop now." So here I am, walking through Central Park, the skyline like a promise overhead. I'm not the king I once was, but I'm starting to really see the world and the people in it. Sophia Alvarez showed me that true power is lifting others, not keeping them down. Her story isn't just her legacy. It's a challenge. What would you do if you finally saw the invisible? Would you lift them up? Or just keep walking? Yeah, that's the question. I'm still finding my answer. What about you? Let's hear your take. Was Lucas just another rich jerk who got lucky? Or do you think people really can change? What would justice look like if you were in Sophia's shoes? Drop your thoughts below. Argue it out. Let's keep this conversation going, because maybe that's where the real change starts.